Hey Academy of Nerds. So this week apparently we're talking about Disney princesses. We were in a hangout the other day and we kind of got into an argument about which Disney princesses were kind of like the best and awesome and which ones kind of just sucked. So here we go. There's at least 10 Disney princesses. So number one, we have Ariel. She's a bit of an airhead. I mean, her communication skills for the first half of the movie, which is when we actually see her actually talking or whatever, kind of brings her out as an airhead. And then in the last half of the movie, where she's actually just communicating through her gestures and through her facial expressions, doesn't really say much either. So it kind of just puts her into that stereotype of just being the girl who is liked because of what she looks like. Number 2, 3, and 4 all kind of fall into the same thing, into that same little group. Cinderella, Aurora, Snow White. Yeah, that's 4. They all basically, their storyline is just based on the prince looking for them. Yeah, they're all basically just placed into that they're princesses because of how pretty they are, and that's kind of how the story just goes along. The prince just goes after them because of how pretty they are, and that's all they really see, because Cinderella really doesn't say much. She doesn't really stand, and I agree with Melanie. Cinderella doesn't really stand up for herself. She lets her stepmother and her stepsisters kind of just take hold of everything that's going on, and in the end, it's just her fairy godmother who kind of like just defends her and does everything for her, which is really not fair, and it really doesn't show much of how much of a person she is. She's just using the princess title to kind of like supersede everything else. Aurora is basically asleep the entire movie, so we don't really get to see much about her either. And Snow White is really gullible. Jasmine, Pocahontas, and Rapunzel are kind of in this group of adventurers, and how they go after the ones they shouldn't. Is that better? They go after, well, Jasmine obviously goes after a street rat, Pocahontas goes after a white man, and Rapunzel dates some lowlife. Does that sound like familiar to anybody? Because I know that so that kind of just falls into that little group, and that's why I kind of don't really put Jasmine, Pocahontas, or Rapunzel in high regard. And then we have Belle, who is my favorite because she actually spends a lot more time with her prince, getting to know her prince for who he is on the inside. And then we also get to know Belle on the inside as well. Like, we know that she's studious, she loves to learn, she loves to read, she loves to just imagine so many other things. Basically, aside from what she looks like on the exterior, her inside, like her intelligence and her beauty kind of just emanates like from the inside out, and that's how kind of we see her transition throughout her story. And that's why she's kind of my favorite, because she, out of all the other princesses, is like the true nerd. But the true nerd who kind of exemplifies the beauty of what a nerd really looks like. I know, that's kind of pretty, isn't it? Alright, and then lastly we have Meg, who is married later on to Hercules, and we know Hercules is like the prince of the gods, or something or other. Thank you guys also for your opinions. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Bye.